is Ruel's Running Podcast, a podcast about running, health, family, play, and an NSNG lifestyle. And now, here's your host, Ruel.
Excuse me as I rock on. That's Went Away by Dorothy Lane. Dorothy Lane out of Martinez, California. That's out of the Cut and Dry album. Check them out at dorothylanemusic.com. Yeah. Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. It's Ruel. How you doing? If you are a new listener, welcome to the podcast. It's easy, it's laid back, nothing really significant goes on around here. But if you just wanted to add to your podcast playlist, give this a listen. Or any of the hundreds and hundreds of other senseless episodes in the archives. If you are a return listener. I don't know why I always stumble when I say that piece where if you are a return listener, what's up? Yeah. How's everybody doing? I'm good, but I'm kind of wiped out. You know, I don't know what it is. I mean, well, I kind of do. I worked out pretty hard last night. I worked out pretty hard late last night. So, yesterday, my wife and I, we participated in a 5K event to support, it was called a Run for Education. So, you know, all of pretty much the funding goes towards education, as it's titled. And, you know, it was a last minute decision to participate. My son was going to be there anyways, not running the event, but his high school marching band, and he's in that marching ensemble. A subset of the members showed up to the event to assemble and play music at the start and at the finish, and perform their music, their marching selection. And there's also color guard there. So my son is he participates in both the marching band. He plays pit percussion instruments, and when he's not doing that, he's also participating in guard stuff. Yeah, versatile dude. But so the night before, his marching group had a competition at the next town, a few towns over, and that got him home late. I mean, and we as a family attended, and I as a parent / volunteer played a part by helping sort of move equipment onto the field and off the field. But the whole family got home late, and only to get up early the next morning, just my wife and I and our high schooler, so that he can participate in the Run for Education. And like I said, it was a last-minute decision for my wife and I to actually do a distance to do the 5K. So the morning of, I registered for the 10K, which is the highest distance they have. And I signed my wife up for the 5K, and the idea was that I would run the 10K and she would sort of jog and walk with some other parent friends there. But when we got my son all set up, and we headed towards the bib pickup, apparently the 10Kers had to get shuttled off to a different start. I'm like, oh, damn it. Like 3 miles away. I'm like, should I run there? Thinking like, It's nothing worse than running a 5K in a hurry just to get to start a race. And I'm pretty sure that they would have started by the time I even got there if I did that. Like, why don't you drive? I said, but we had a sweet parking spot at this event. I didn't want to leave it just to leave it in some strange neighborhood so that I could run a 10K and then we wouldn't know how to get back to the vehicle at the end. So, long story short, I paid the 10K fee, and it's for a good cause, but I just opted to downgrade to the 5K, and it was just as well because the parent friends who my wife was expecting to go running with or walking with decided not to show up because they too have a son in the marching group, and they too came home late, and they came home way later than us from the previous night's contest, so they were pretty wiped out, so they didn't show up. So it was just as well because I just became my wife's jog, run, walk partner, and it was fun. I think we haven't done that as a couple in a while, so but that's not why I'm pretty beat up right now. I'm pretty beat up because last night, just a little after 11 in the evening, I did a workout. Excuse me. I did a workout. I do these exercises in the garage at home, right? In the garage, and I'm doing doing jump rope to warm up, and I'll do a round of stretching. Then from there, what did I do? I transitioned into TRX straps. So I was doing a good push-pull sequence of movements. It's not aggressive working those straps, right? It's body weight movement. But then I decided, and I don't ordinarily do it, but I moved right into kettlebells, and I thought I'll just do an abbreviated version only to actually do the whole sequence that I tend to do. And what I mean was, I ordinarily don't do TRX movements and then the barbell, the kettlebells, I'll alternate them. But then, I don't know, I just felt like I needed to work out, and I needed that sort of moment to myself and to sort of clear my head and while I exercised. And so I did that. And that one was pretty aggressive with the kettlebell swings and all that stuff, and God. So it was good. And then I did a round of ab exercises that I also somehow fit in as I do these workouts in the garage. It felt great. Got it all done. Went back into the house last night and got cleaned up, and I wasn't hungry or anything like that. So I just, got into bed. But then today, it was normal morning wake up, normal 1 mile walk around the park with my wife before we start the work day. Nice and easy. And I don't know. When I finally got around, it was a little bit after lunchtime. When I finally got around to getting something to eat, I had some steak. I have some thinly sliced steaks. I leave them in a nice stack, so it's a decent size stack of thin steaks. Just to sort of, I want to reassemble a thicker steak, so I put all the thin layers together, and then I just cook it up in a cast iron pan, and I have that seasoned salt, black pepper, and I ate that. And I also had some pork belly in the refrigerator, and the way I prepare it, I might have mentioned it in a previous episode, but it's nice and cool and firm, and I just cut it up into smaller pieces, stick it in the air fryer, and these pieces get nice and crisp and good. So I even had some of that. Right? No like rice or bread or anything like that, right? Actually, I don't know what. There was a couple of pieces of bacon left over from breakfast that my daughter didn't eat, or my son didn't eat, so I nibbled on that. So I had the pork belly, I had the 2 strips of bacon, and I had the steak. Then I sat down on the couch, and it must be the couch, but it sucked my energy out of me. I was just drained. I felt destroyed. And I tried to, I nodded off and woke up, and that's the worst feeling, to nod off. I don't know how long it was. It must not have been that long, but I've been struggling all afternoon, trying to do something creative to sort of wake me up, I get on. I have a few musical instruments in the room. I'll bring out the electric bass, which, I'm still trying to learn. And there's a piece of music that I've just got introduced to that I wanted to mess around with. There's a little tune you might be familiar. It's, is it called Paranoia by Black Sabbath, or is it Paranoid? I think it's Paranoid. I got that title wrong. But yeah, it's just, going outside check the mail just to get some fresh air. Not wanting to use exercise as a way to wake up if I'm feeling pretty wiped out because of, working out. So hopefully tomorrow will be better. I need to be better by tomorrow. Yeah, I can't go on like this. I can't go on. But yeah, that's that. Anyways, so just like that, welcome to the episode. I just covered a little bit of food, a little bit of exercise, some family stuff. That's it. It's all there. Oh, actually, something I haven't done in a long time. Something happened today. I was driving with my wife, and we took a break in the day. Ran some errands, stopped off at the FedEx, kind of the formerly known as Kinko's kind of situation. Picked up a couple of orders that some print related needs, flyers and whatnot for my son's music activities at school, and filled up tank, filled up with gas in the vehicle and whatever, and started to make our way back home, and had some God, I can't talk today. Had some time to kill, so maybe like 15 minutes. So we just kind of circled around town and then made our way back again, and we were at a residential area, but it's kind of like a main road in the neighborhood, so it has a little bit has the capacity to have a higher level of traffic, but where we were at, it was 2 lanes that quickly turned to 1 lane. Otherwise, you were going to have to take a turn somewhere. And you're not moving at a high rate of speed whatsoever, right? Like 3 miles per hour. And there was a car behind me that switched lanes quickly from the the turning lane onto my lane, and he was pretty up close behind me. So I'm like, yeah, okay. So someone has an issue with his driving, and there's a line of cars ahead of me, and quickly we make our way towards an intersection, a light that's at a stop. So everyone ahead of me is slowing down, preparing to stop, and I signal right because there's another lane to execute an upcoming right turn at the intersection. So I signal. Again, nobody's moving at a high rate of speed whatsoever, right? I signal to move onto the right lane, and the guy behind me, he honks, right? Like, there's a way to honk where it's kind of like, hey, notification, like, hey, wake up, or there's a honk that's like aggressive, rude kind of honk. You just hold the honk, you just hold the horn longer. So it's kind of that, and it didn't help when I looked in the side view that the guy was flipping me the bird, right, over his dash. I could see him through his windshield. So as I completed executing lane switching to allow him to pass, I did something that I haven't done in a long time, right? It was roll down my window and tell him in very strongly. What did I say? My wife was just not here with me right now, but I said something like, hey, fuck you, asshole. Pretty good volume. I didn't realize I had it in me. And given where we were, like my voice kind of was bouncing off of some of like the townhomes and things, and because we were in a kind of compact space, it felt like, at least at the time. But yeah, I got pretty upset. It's like, really? Nobody's going anywhere at this rate of speed, and you're gonna go up my ass with your vehicle, and then honk me as I switch lanes, and then flip me the bird? Damn. And he looked like the really nerdy types, like one of those guys who probably lives his life, behind a keyboard, trying to act all badass. But man, I told my wife exactly that. She says, why'd you do that? I'm like, well, because not only did he honk, but he flipped me the bird, right? There's no reason for that, right? He's not going to get an advantage in traffic. It's not even traffic. It's just normal, a pattern of movement here on this particular road. As he's one of those guys, really dorky, probably lives with his mom. And if I had time to think about something cooler to say, I probably would have told him to go back home and get laid by his mom. Something like that. Something, I don't know, that's not that creative. But I did tell my wife that if he said it to my face, it'd be a different story. Show me that finger again, I would break his finger off and shove it up his ass. And she thought that was pretty entertaining. That image of me breaking somebody's finger and sticking it up their ass. So yeah, you didn't think that you were going to get this in this podcast, did you, new listener? That's just me telling stories. It could be real, it could be fake, it could be based on a true story. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, right? I haven't done that in a while, or the main character in the story hadn't done that in a while. So as he drove home with his wife, he had to sort of take a moment to breathe, because it was just if he didn't take the time to breathe and calm down, he would have just ran off a cliff or something. I don't know. Yeah, awesome. And you know why, right? When you're a parent, and for a good number of years in your, I want to call it your parenting career, you're not gonna, I won't be doing that in front of the kids, Now that they're older, I mean, I have a high schooler, a middle schooler, and an elementary schooler. If I was with my high schooler, maybe I would have used it as a learning lesson, you know, a teachable moment. And like, it would be like, see what I did there, son? I had to decide what was the appropriate response for what I felt as inappropriate behavior towards me, right? I needed to put my foot down because this individual might be doing this all day, every day to people, and he needs to know that's not cool. So I made the call to let him know it's not cool by simply, in my most kindest way, telling him to fuck off, asshole. And then, you know, I can tell him, you know, and as you're becoming a young adult yourself, you know, you'll be able to make those decisions for yourself as well. You got to be smart about how you do it, because there's a lot of crazy people out there that you don't know. They may be packing some heat, right? So you want to think ahead, right? Where's your weapon? Where's your escape route, right? So, anyways, yeah. Or, you know, there's the classic, ooh, I'm gonna execute a U-turn and tail the guy and make him feel really uncomfortable, but then waste the time, right? But I could at least find out where the individual lives and keep that in my memory bank, so that if at some moment I might know somebody who has, you know, a surplus of animal excrement or something that needs to be offloaded into somebody's yard, maybe, you know, I can say, hey, there's this place that I know that gladly deserves it. Something along those lines. Yeah. But, you know, not really. Back in high school, would have done something like that. In a story that I was telling friends about when we were just sitting around the campfire telling stories, I would have told that story. Yeah. Man. High school. My son's in high school. He's in the 10th grade. And when I was in the 10th grade, I was doing nowhere the level of cool stuff that he's doing. And he's doing a lot of musical stuff and performance stuff. And it's like, wow. You know, and the expectations too are different, you know, than when I was going to school. But yeah, I did tons of stupid stuff. Could write a book. I might have to hook up with Lonnie and Mark and say, hey guys, let's put our heads, the heads over our shoulders, put those heads together and come up with our a cool, I don't know, book about stupid stuff stories. How about that? Anyways, guys, that's all I got. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you on the next one. And for now, just go out, run, something. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Ruel's Running Podcast with Ruel. If you like what you just heard, share it with your friends and your enemies. Also, be sure to check out the site over at ruelsrunning.com. This has been another Coffee with Heavy Cream production. Join us next time for another silly show of Ruel's Running Podcast.